Hello students, welcome back to the consumer behavior class. We learned about culture, subculture, cross culture and family life cycle, all these things in the third unit, how these things are going to impact the consumer behavior. Because in order to improve the business, in order to grab the market, what is required for any companies to understand the perception about their products or services of the consumers. So to understand the perceptions, psychological behavior, the actions, whatever they do for purchasing their products or services, making them aware of the kind of innovations or what you call the new things need to be introduced in the upcoming products or the services by the respective companies. Today we are going to start the unit 4, which is nothing but the consumer decision making. So here, what do you mean a decision? As you all know that the decision is a common thing, common activity we are regularly perform. Day by day we are going to perform what we call decision taking activities, right from morning to till the night. The decisions we made generally, the kind of things we consider as the food items, the kind of things what you are going to purchase, the kind of things what you are going to use. In every aspect the decision making is there. So the decision making is a part and parcel of our lives. Then how do you define the decision? Decision is nothing but choosing the right alternative from the available alternatives. There will be so many alternatives, but the thing is, as a consumer, only one or two alternatives would be there which satisfies you in terms of the price, in terms of the color, in terms of the what you call the features, XYZ things. Choosing such a way, such a manner, what you call this one as the decision making. Purchasing a pen, you will be focusing on the brand name, the ink, the color of the ink, isn't it? Is that the ball pointed pen or a fountain pen, isn't it? So based upon that, there will be so many brands are available in the market. And also the cost. In all these aspects, whichever pen is going to satisfy, that pen you are going to select. What to call this? You are calling as the decision making. Even the consumer, theoretically, if we think, need to make so many decisions. Some decisions are very simple decisions, some decisions are very complex situations, isn't it? So how to make those decisions? What are the things which are going to impact as far as the consumer decision making is concerned? We are going to understand all those concepts in this particular unit. Very, very simple, very, very small and simple unit, this one, the consumer decision making. So how do we define a decision? Decision is defined as choosing an option of the few or many available. Decision making is a process of choosing between two or more alternatives. So whatever option you select, that should satisfy the norms of whatever you framed. There will be so many things can be assumed as the norms in terms of the price, in terms of the color, in terms of the brand, in terms of what you called features, XYZ things. So there are two types of decision makings. One is called the programmed decision making, and one more thing is a non-programmed decision making. What is a programmed decision making? Programmed decision making applies for problems that are routine and regular, simple to deal, with and guidelines to sort out the problem exists and low involvement purchases. As you know very well, in our day-to-day life, we will be doing few things very often, like what you called purchasing a soap, purchasing a shampoo, isn't it? Going to a vegetable market to buy vegetables. Understand? So for these things, you need not to prepare, weeks together, days together, months together, because all these are all routine activities. Without much effort, you can have the what you call selection of these kinds of products. So what do you mean by that? You need to show the low involvement. Such a kind of decision making is called as a programmed decision making. The second one is called the non-programmed decision making. Examples are purchasing of the laptop, purchasing of the real estate, like sites, buildings, house, all these things. These kind of things cannot be taken decisions within 1 hour, within 1 day. Months together, planning is required. Comparison would be there. Talking with the experienced persons would be there. Because these are all highly risk-oriented products. Risk in the sense not only for life. Don't assume that risk means only for life. So huge investments will be there. That's why what is required? Sincere commitment is required. More involvement is required. When you go for decision making, in what situations? Under non-programmed situations. Non-programmed means very, very rarely you perform these kinds of things. One cannot purchase properties every day. Just like purchasing a pen, purchasing a bath soap, all these things. Then how do you define a non-programmed decision making? Non-programmed decision making arises suddenly and are unique or novel. It is complex and requires a lot of information gathering, deliberation, and as well as a thought. So overall way, what we have learned from here, there are two types of decision making. One is called programmed decision making, one more is non-programmed decision making. The difficult phase for every consumer to take decision is nothing but non-programmed kind of situations. Now we are going to understanding about what are the various stages a consumer need to follow, generally follows for taking a decision or as making the decision. Which are, the first one is a problem recognition, pre-purchase information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, post-purchase outcome and reaction. Now, one can easily understand by means of an example all these stages. Let us suppose that you want to purchase a television because you direly in need of entertainment at home because of the COVID situation. All of us are staying at home only. So here the problem recognition is nothing but how to have the sources so that valid way you can pass the time. Nothing but purchasing of the television. So just like that, you cannot go and purchase the television. So what is that? That is going to be the next stage, pre-purchase information search. According to your budget, according to the kind of features you wanted to have In television, like smart televisions are there, smart TVs are there nowadays. You are going to fix up to a company like Samsung, like Sony, like what you called, LG. So what do you call this pre-purchase information search? You are going to zero in. You are going to what you called focusing on a particular model. The third one is the evaluation of the alternatives. So just now after zeroing, isn't it? So what you will do here, you are going to compare from each company different models. Whichever more effectively satisfies your norms, that only you are going to select. You call that one as a purchase decision. The final one, post-purchase outcome and reaction. So when you are using the product, you will be what you called giving some kind of opinions, whether you satisfied about the performance of the product or not, whether you are going to suggest the product to the what you call known people, what you call this outcome and reaction. So these are the few fixed up stages for consumer decision. One is the problem recognition, pre-purchase information search, that is second one. The third one, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision. The fourth one, the fifth one, post-purchase outcome and reaction. So regarding purchase decisions are concerned, I mean to say, the consumer decision making process is concerned. There are so many models are there. We are exclusively studying about all these models in the last and final unit. What is that? Fifth unit. But here one very very important model have been introduced in the fourth unit itself. What is that? Schiffman and Kaunak's model. It's actually based upon the emotional content of what you called the consumer. Mentally, psychologically, what kind of things are going to influence as far as the purchase of the product is concerned. Well defined by Schiffman and Kaunak. So they actually considered three major components as far as the explanation of the model is concerned. One is the input information, processing the information, and through the processing, finally the kind of output they are going to what you called exhibit. So what you call this one, the Schiffman and Kaunak's model. So let us see this picture. So the input generally will have from various sources, like external influences would be there. The best examples are product promotion, price channels of distribution. I mean to say, through the advertisements, through the features of the products, the consumer is going to develop interest towards that product. And one more way, the impact will be there through the social, cultural environment, the background of the family, the peers, the friends, all these people are going to influence as far as what you call the purchase of the product is concerned. So after having that input information, process will start. So under the process stage, the consumer going to experience need recognition, pre-purchase search, evaluation of the alternatives. Previously we discussed. So what are the psychological things like motivation, perception, learning, personality, attitudes. And finally the output will be to purchase. Again under purchase, two aspects will be there. One is a trial and repeat purchase. The final thing is going to be the post-purchase evaluation. I mean to say sharing experience. So overall way, Schiffman-Kaunak model based on input, process and as well as the output. Now we are going to discuss what are the factors which are highly involved as far as the consumer decision making is concerned. The very first one is the relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, divisibility or tradability, communicability. So the first one is a relative advantage, the degree to which it appears to be better and superior than the existing products. Generally, when a new service, a new product comes to the market, the consumers are going to compare the new service or the new product with already existing product. Comparatively, if they feel that the new product, new service which has been introduced more beneficial, then immediately they go on what you call receiving that product positively. Examples are email and fax. So both are online only, but as far as the comforts are concerned, the email is going to have the upper hand comparatively with that of the fax. Nowadays, only in the office environment you will be having the fax information. But if you see the email everywhere, even from common man to the what you called highly rated people in terms of their profession, they are using the email advantage, benefiting the email advantage. Compatibility. So general meaning of the compatibility is nothing but a convenience. So how? The degree to which the new product or innovation matches the values and experience of consumers in a particular community. Greater the degree of compatibility, sooner will be the innovation be acceptable to the consumer. Best example is a laptop with senior executives. Now compatibility. So laptop with the senior executives. So you will be assuming the people who are there in the senior level positions, senior level decision making positions like CEOs, MDs, managing directors, they feel more comfortable using of the laptop based upon various features. Earlier, whatever they had experience. So compatibility is a very, very important factor as far as the consumer decision making is concerned. Wristwatches nowadays, you will be observing. Now sports watches are there which measures not only the time, other very, very important parameters regarding the health of the human body is concerned. Compatibility. The third one is the complexity, the extent degree to which the new product is relatively difficult to understand and use. If less complexity is there, very, very effectively the receiving will be there from the products. If more complexity is there in the product, most of the customers, will not show interest in receiving the product or services. Let us take softwares itself. A Windows operating system, one you call. It's completely menu based. Even a person can be trained within a 1 hour how to use a computer if the Windows operating system is there. If other operating systems are there, it's going to be very, very difficult. Hence, 90% of the people will prefer to have Windows only as the operating system. Divisibility or trialability, the fourth one. The degree to which the new product may be tried on a limited basis, innovation's rate of adoption increases. You will be observing, especially in the automobiles, few dealers will give the opportunity to the customers for a test drive whether that is a two-wheeler, four-wheeler. So through that, what happens, the customer is going to experience the real features of that car, that bike. Really, if he feels more comfort, you go and purchase that product. More adoption rate will increase. The final one, communicability. The degree to which the results are observable or described to others. The features, whatever disclosed by the company, should be observed by the customers, should be experienced by the customers. If these features are exhibits by any product or service, the consumer decision is going to be more effective. So what do you call these? Factors involved consumer decision making. Relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, divisibility or trainability, communicability. Next, we are going to discuss the information search and different types. We all know very well, for purchasing a product or service, we are going to have some kind of information collection regarding the price of the product, features of the product, the company, the supply, aftermath kind of activities. What do you call this? You call this information. Every consumer will perform these things, understand? Not to have finally that risk, that disadvantage. So what do you know information search? Before a consumer decides to go for a purchase, he generally tries to find out what are the possible options he has. This is because to reduce the risk of making the wrong choice. Again, types are there in the information search. Internal search and external search. The consumer look within himself to search for alternative. Generally, internal search will be there, that information is possible when the item, whatever is going to be purchased, is more frequently purchased item because of the experience whatever he got. External search, the consumer needs to explore various avenues of information to identify the alternatives and gather what exactly these options to deliver in the form of some distinct value. Costly products would be there. Costly critical business activities would be there. So beforehand, the consumers will have the information like purchasing of the jewelries, purchasing of the iPhones, Apple phones, isn't it? Cars, all these things. So two types of information searches are possible. One is internal search and one more is the external search. Host of influencing factors of information search. So these are the factors generally influence the information search. Confidence level of the consumer. If already consumer knows about the product, very frequently has been purchasing the product like shampoo, like toothpaste, like soap, he need not to waste time again to get information about that product. But if new kind of things is going to purchase, you need to have critical observation. What to call that? The more confidence level of the consumer. More confident about internal search, not prefers external search. If already prior experience exists, that experience will be there within him only, internal search. He prefers internal search only. He never asks for other people about that information. So, he never goes for external search. Frequency of purchase. This is one more influencing factor as far as information search is concerned. If any product has been purchased very frequently, like toiletries would be there, he never go for external search, but occasionally purchased products are there. He must and should go for what you call external search. That means the decision depends on frequency of purchase, whether the product has been purchased frequently or regularly or very occasionally. Soap purchase is a regular practice, very frequently purchased with bath soaps. But as far car is concerned, very rare event. Rate of product changes. Above two are based upon the consumer. The third one is absolutely based upon the company. If the company is not that much of dynamic and it never shows interest in competing with the what you call competitors by rolling out new model cars, developed cars, new products with new features, then what do you call? The decision making of the consumer is going to be less effective. That means the rate of product changes are also going to be impact as far as information search is concerned. Examples are tube light was computed. Tube light is a simple product. One cannot guess day to day, year by year developments. But as far as a computer is concerned, you will be observing so many features. Tri-monthly, bi-monthly, isn't it? You will be finding so many companies introducing the computers with new advanced features. Risk, high risk and low risk. So don't assume risk means only the life threatening here. In terms of money also. Pen versus camera. Camera is obviously a costly product. Without information, without appropriate research, if anybody purchases camera, huge investment. He may face problem. But as far as pen is concerned, not required that much extensive information gathering. Price. So price and prestige about owning the product, these two things are going to be very influencing factors. Like purchasing normal filter water was air conditioner. Air conditioner is after all a matter of respect for middle class families. Price matters a lot. So such a way, if you think these are the few things which influences the information gathering or information search of the consumer. Confidence level of the consumer, frequency of purchase, rate of product changes, risk, price. Again, different sources of information. One is internal sources, one more is external sources. Best examples for internal sources are experience of the customer with that product or service. What are the examples for external sources? Friends, colleagues, peer groups, family members, mass, social media like television or internet. So these are few of the sources for information, long-term existence. Earlier few reports would be there. Past records would be there. Past experiences would be there. Based upon that information will be gathered. Personal sources through the friends, family members, neighbors, peer groups. These are the personal sources, independent sources. Newspapers, magazines, journals, through all these things also information gathering is possible. marketer control sources. That means the company representatives, these are, which are nothing but the advertisements, sales personnel, experience sources, inspection of the products, product trials. I stop here. Tomorrow we continue. Thank you so much.